Comedy special next.
Coffee's ready, Mr. Medlock.
Thank you, Sasha.
And we need some more. Unless you'd rather drink glorious Russian coffee.
Would you rather drink glorious Russian coffee, Sasha?
Oh, yes. Soviet coffee is superior to yours in every conceivable way.
Well, I'm sorry to disappoint you then, but I asked the new kid to bring some more from America. He was doing last night. I hope he made it.
He checked through the airport at 9:26, had 4 pieces of luggage, 2 magazines, and overtipped the cab driver. I would imagine.
It's comforting to have an employee who's informed. I've always felt that was a good thing on a news magazine.
Coffee, quick. Preferably yours.
Chris, what happened? Don't tell me you were out on that story all night. The Galotny story?
I had a lead. I broke a date with Bill to go meet a source who never showed up. I spent the entire night in Dzerzhinsky Square.
Poor Chris.
Can't even tell you all the parts of me that are frozen.
Here, have a seat.
I can't. That's one of them. I have to go upstairs to my apartment and get on some dry shoes. These wonderful Russian boots fell apart. I've had them 1 month.
Hey, if they lasted longer, it would make them look better. Just a foolish bad joke.
I know just how Chris feels. My wife hates the winter here. She's not too crazy about the other 6 weeks either.
Wait, cheer up. You and your wife will be going home soon. Then she'll smile.
I hope so. I've always wanted to see that.
Mr. Medlock?
Yeah?
I'm Tim Carmichael.
Oh! Hello, Tim. Herb Medlock. Welcome to Moscow. This is Sasha Zukov, our government-supplied translator.
Translator, huh? Я учил русский язык тоже.
Not bad. Russian, right?
I didn't have many lessons. This was a last-minute assignment. The man they'd planned to send died suddenly.
In the old days, they would have sent him anyway.
I'm sorry for him, of course, but what a break for me. I'm in Moscow. I got to tell you, when I looked out of that plane and saw the Kremlin, I freaked out.
So did my wife. I'd promised her Acapulco. Well, glad you're here. Oh, you just missed Chris Nichols.
Christine Nichols. Whew. I've been reading her byline for years. When they told me I was relieving her so she could move up to your job, I bought out a Russian bookstore. I am prepared for anything.
You may think so, Tim, but you'll be surprised. I've been bureau chief for 18 years now. The place does things to you. It's a lonely life. Let's go in the bathroom. Why? You might as well get used to it. It goes with the territory.
Honestly, sir, I just got here. I'm not that lonely yet.
I have some things to reveal, my boy.
I want to go home.
First of all, everything is bugged. Our apartments, offices, the whole building.
Oh, that's why you dragged me in here. I thought you were just being a good host.
Second, Sasha is KGB.
Sasha, but he seems so nice.
Well, he is nice and a good friend, but he has a job to do.
Feeling better, Chris?
Yeah, a little, thanks.
Oh, by the way, you will find your relief in the bathroom.
I beg your pardon?
The boy who's replacing you, he's in there with the boss.
Oh, great.
Oh, Chris, this is Tim Carmichael.
Hi, Tim. Welcome to the Bureau. How do you like your first assignment?
It's as though I've been doing it all my life. Although I think I'm ready for something more challenging.
Well, you're in the right place.
Moscow is tough to get news out of. We are doing the impossible here, my boy. We are smuggling diamonds out of Kimberly. We're stealing fire from the gods. We're
Sloshed.
maybe a tad, but eloquent. I'm proud of what we do here.
Well, you should be. It ain't easy. Tim, do you know who Vladimir Golodny is?
Yeah, number 2 man in the Politburo. Some think he's next in line.
I think he's dead, and the Russians aren't announcing it. Now, that's my own little exclusive, Tim. I want to keep it that way until we have proof.
Telephone, Chris. You know, this is how my family lived for 9 years.
Hello? Hi, Phil. What's up?
Her boyfriend works for the Times.
Really? Gee, Phil, that's big news. No, that's terrific.
Alas, their romance is about to end.
Listen, I can't really talk. Why don't we meet later at the beach club for a drink? And congratulations.
Is something wrong?
He's been promoted, going back to New York on Friday.
Damn it, Sasha, there's certain things that really are none of your business.
Sorry, Chris, my man just automatically records the details. Forgive me.
Well, that's what he said, all right. Just like that, he's flying back home day after tomorrow.
Lufthansa Flight 26, window seat.
Okay.
Non-smoking section.
Well, this is it.
Who owns this apartment?
Nigel Blake. A real smooth operator. It's what the Russians call a tolkash, a real wheeler-dealer.
But a beach club in the middle of Moscow? That's the silliest thing I ever heard.
Remember that when he rents you a surfboard.
Nigel Blake. Boy, that name sounds familiar. Isn't he also one of the top correspondents in Europe?
In the world. Nigel Blake is fabled, larger than life, a legend. He's a man whose hand we should all be proud to shake. You can go first.
Hey, Chris, come on over.
Excuse me.
I hear Herb Medlock is leaving, and you get to be bureau chief.
That's right.
I like a bureau chief with cute legs.
Yeah, I'll miss Herb.
Obviously, you're a new recruit. Well, here's a vital tip. When you're in your apartment, turn your stereo up good and loud if you plan to do any talking or date a Swede.
My apartment doesn't have a stereo.
Lucky you came to me when you did. I'm going to sell you a gorgeous Panasonic for only $400. Don't even try to thank me. I like helping folks. It's my mission in life. No personal checks, by the way. I've been burnt before.
As you can see, this place has caught on with the press.
Yeah, even TV people. Isn't that, what's her name from the 6 o'clock news?
Connie Euchre.
Yeah, she's broken a lot of big stories, too.
Yes, several of them mine.
Chris, you shouldn't have. You brought me a birthday present.
How could I? You haven't had a birthday in 6 years. This is Tim Carmichael.
I used to watch you do the news all the time at home. I think you're terrific.
Bless you. It's people like you I do it for, if they play their cards right. So, you're finally getting Medlock's job, huh? What kind of stores are you working on these days?
Russian one? Excuse me, there's Phil.
Alone at last. So, I guess they haven't let you do much reporting so far.
I'm working with Chris.
Really? Well, you couldn't have chosen a better mother figure. And she must really think you're something to let you help her cover the, what was that story again?
I don't want to leave you, Chris. I hate this.
I'm not exactly hurling my babushka in the air myself.
Then come with me.
Oh, be serious. You know I can't.
Why not? You could find plenty of jobs in New York with your credits. Good jobs.
But not Moscow bureau chief. That's why I've waited so long for Herb to leave. That's what makes all this worthwhile.
I know.
Phil, I think I found a buyer for that beat-up old Panasonic of yours. $75, and I won't take any commission. It's my going-away present, guy.
Phil, you lucky devil. In a few days, you'll be home watching me in color. I think we should throw him a big farewell party tomorrow night.
Oh, well, thank you, Connie, but it is my last night. I'd rather spend it alone with Chris.
Sure, why not? You'll have plenty of time for enjoyment later.
Connie, you really are something. I'd be more specific, but I need a favor. Could you lend me a steak? I'd like to cook something special for Phil for his last night.
Well, I do have one T-bone left, a gift from my good, dear friend at the embassy, Harvey Shannon.
George Shannon.
Whatever. I was saving it, but I guess I do owe you for all the makeup I borrowed.
From me? When?
This morning when your apartment was being cleaned. I figured, who sees your face? Whereas mine is practically public property.
If that's your criterion, you should have borrowed pants.
Ja, skashu jevi zvonili. I understand it better than I speak it.
I pole vault better than you speak it.
Morning, everyone.
Good morning, Chris. You're supposed to contact somebody, but I'm not sure I understood who.
They're always reluctant to speak on the phone. What's the message?
Yeah, she said, remember a certain person you discussed a certain matter with at a certain concert? Well, this is that person's sister.
Got it.
Me too.
You're bluffing.
Sasha, I'm a little worried about something. This morning, I may have irritated our driver. I got in the back seat, and he seemed upset.
Of course he was upset. In a classless Soviet society, you must never ride in the back. You insulted him terribly. I don't know how you can ever make it up to him.
How about 5 rubles?
Plenty.
Morning, Chris. Coffee?
Good Lord, Herb, it's a little early in the day for coffee.
We're certainly very businesslike this morning, I must say.
Well, I have to be. Trying to fill your shoes. You're a tough act to follow.
Thanks, Chris. I have to admit, I hate leaving.
Oh, I hate having you leave. I'm saying that a lot these days.
We've had some good times here. Why, if these walls could talk, and they can, what stories they'd tell. We've been a part of history.
You just can't get that feeling anywhere else. That kick that comes from landing the big one right under the Russians' noses can never be duplicated.
Never. I'll really miss that.
There was no one better at it than you, Herb.
This job was special. And New York is going to be positively boring.
Hey, Herb. Thanks for taking so much time with me. You've taught me more than anyone I've ever worked for. Look out, boys. We're under new management.
Chris, you're right. You're absolutely right. I have been dreading this move for weeks, and it took me until now to admit it. Well, I'd have to be crazy to leave all this. I don't want to go to New York, and I'm not going to do it. I'm going to stay right here where I belong, in Moscow.
Wait a minute, Herb, you can't do that.
Why not? I asked for the transfer. I can cancel it.
Oh, you have to think about New York. Ooh, I'll bet it's a winter wonderland right now.
There were 4 feet of filthy slush when I left. At least this snow is clean.
Then why don't you go lie in it?
What did I say now?
Oh, Herb doesn't want to go home.
And I'm not going, my boy. My place is here, but not to worry. There's room for all of us. I'll have the home office make all the necessary arrangements.
Sensational. Then that's great news all around.
The tricky part is going to be telling my wife. I better approach it gradually. First, I'll burn her luggage.
Chris, I just realized this means you won't be bureau chief, doesn't it?
You don't miss trick 1, do you, Sherlock? Could you excuse me?
Oh.
Thank you. Hello, Phil. Listen, in addition to a steak dinner at my place tonight, how would you feel about my coming to New York with you? What do you mean, who is this? Yeah, you bet I'm serious. Okay, I'll see you tonight.
Well, I broke the news to my wife. I told her we were not leaving Russia and that I was tearing up the airplane tickets. Now, I'll be back in 5 minutes. I have to go and get her.
Where is she?
On the roof. She's building a glider.
hell is that?
In Moscow? How should I know? Probably someone selling Girl Scout beets.
Surprise! It's the meat fairy. Here's your steak dinner. Just needs a bit of defrosting. Or if you want to make it last, you can suck it frozen. Incidentally, what do you think of this? It is the most expensive thing I have ever owned. It's irreplaceable. It was given to me by my dear friend at the French embassy, Claude Duclair.
Maurice Duclair.
What's in a name?
Connie, it's after midnight.
Mercy. I'll bet you've worked up quite an appetite. But hey, you deserve it. After all the work you've been doing on that secret theory about the death of Golodny. Oops.
Before I leave, I really must remember to have Tim touch his tongue to a tank.
What do you mean before you leave?
Well, Herb's decided to stay, so there goes my promotion. Why should I hang around?
Oh, baby, I'll miss you in many ways. But don't blame Tim. I wouldn't touch your Golodny story. There's just no proof. It's worthless, a waste of time. It's an embarrassment. I want you to have it.
It's probably just as well she interrupted us. It's time I went upstairs and started packing.
You're not spending the night? This is our last night in Moscow.
Honey, there will be plenty more in New York.
You know something? You do this a lot.
Do what?
You don't spend the whole night here. That never bothered me before, but we don't ever wake up together.
Hey, you don't want to see me in the morning. My eyes look like something that's healed improperly.
So what did you have in mind for us in New York? Dating?
New York is, different.
Yeah, you bet it's different. Here we're isolated. We cling together, desperate for a kind word and a warm body.
Not true. I can go for weeks without a kind word.
Come to New York. That's all you said to me. A no-fault proposition. No strings, no risk, no commitment.
Chris, what are we talking about here?
All of a sudden, I don't think I want it.
I see.
Oh, I hope you do, Phil, because you're a terrific guy. It's just that this has simply been a Moscow romance. Lots of sex with no questions.
I'll miss that.
You'll manage.
You're right, of course. It would have been a stupid mistake for both of us.
Well, at least you didn't drag out the argument.
You are so smart. Do you know that? If we had met in New York, you're the kind of girl I'm...
Phil, would you mind getting a jump in your packing? I need a little time to myself.
Sure. Hey, you know what? Later...
Oh, don't worry. I'm not going to let you get away without saying goodbye.
Silly me. I just realized if you're both going home, why waste a steak?
I'm not going. There's been another change in plans. He's going. I'm staying.
Oh, poor Chris. This has been one rotten day for you, hasn't it? First no job, then no man, now no meat.
So, did Phil take off on schedule?
Phil who? Yes. How'd you know?
My wife reads me the passenger list every morning. I'm sorry, Chris. We in love with him?
I don't know. Maybe not love exactly. He sure was fun. To talk to go drinking with.
Hell. Now I'm in love with him.
Never mind. I have my job, and come what may, I do my job.
Not a girl.
Okay. Okay, Chris. I know you think I'm always putting my foot in my mouth saying the wrong thing, but when you see what I've got here, all will be forgiven. You are going to say to me...
Michael! Did you tell that militiaman outside that I was a former war criminal?
No, of course not. I was trying out my Russian, and I may have mentioned that you used to be a war correspondent. I thought I said correspondent.
Whatever this is, you better give it to me while you still can.
Do you realize that when I leave today, I have to walk past a huge man with a bayonet who now believes that I bombed his mother?
I'll straighten him out.
Never mind that. Wait till you hear what Tim dug up.
What?
Independent confirmation that Golodny is dead from a second source. This finally proves my theory.
He died 5 days ago.
And the story's mine. All mine. Oh, congratulations, Tim. You just may become a reporter yet. Now call New York. Have them hold a page for me.
Way to go, Chris.
Hey, big news. I just met Kaplan from the Post.
Yeah?
Vladimir Golodny is dead. Apparently it was on American television, 6 o'clock news.
Tough break, kid. There goes your story.
No, that's impossible. The only TV person who even knew about it was... Connie!
Never mind. Listen, Chris, please, you gotta understand, I didn't mean to tell her.
What do you mean you didn't mean to? What did she use? Drugs? Whips? A hot poker?
No, of course not.
She's getting soft.
She kept telling me what good friends you were, how much she admired you. She even took me back to her place for a steak dinner.
I hope you choked on it.
Well, I never actually got it, Chris. That's the funny thing. It was frozen. But she did give me a lot of wine, and then I accidentally let the information slip.
That's what comes of drinking off duty.
Will this mean my job?
Fortunately, I don't have to make those decisions anymore. The bureau chief does the firing.
You are the bureau chief, aren't you?
I used to be, then I retired.
Yeah, but you...
Then you replaced me. Doesn't any of this come back to you?
But you're still here.
What's that got to do with it? I'm just staying on as an advisor, emeritus. Doesn't affect your promotion.
It doesn't?
You must have known that.
How could she have known it? I didn't even know it.
I'm the bureau chief.
Congratulations, Chris.
I thought it was clear. I understood it.
I'm actually the bureau chief. That's sensational.
It sure is, Chris. It's just great.
It means I get to fire you.
Chris, it is your decision, but he did get the story.
He's a nice boy, Chris, and his Russian is really improving.
Spasibo. Ti хороший друг.
8:45. Why?
No, I'm not going to fire him. You couldn't help it, Tim. That's just how Connie operates.
Somebody ought to get that woman.
Oh, Herb, why should we stoop to her level? Revenge is beneath us. After all, poor Connie's going to be in enough trouble if the KGB finds out that she has that list of anti-government informers concealed in the pelts of her new fur coat. Personally, I hold her no ill will.
You're a fine person, Chris.
Hey, live and let live.